Hi students, this is Vasudev Panda. Welcome to Master of English and welcome to another class of CHSC Compulsory Plus 2 Secondary English. Today I've come with a new topic with the all probable question and answer. The chapter is invitation 1, prose, the portrait of a lady. You're correct. The portrait of a lady. So I've taken 5 passages and I think so I've covered all the text. Okay. So let us see what are those questions that can come in the examination. And before going to my text, I'll tell one thing. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe the channel and put your thumbs on the like and share button. That all students, board aspiring students who were there, they can watch the video and the video will be used properly. Okay, so stay tuned with me and let us start the topic. Okay. What happens? The first topic is like that. What? My grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. This is the first line. The last line I'm telling, and had known her old, so terribly old that she could had not have grown older and had stayed at the same age for 20 years. She could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. This is the extract. Okay, so what are the probable question of the extract? Let me tell you. First thing, what kind of a person did the grandfather appear in his portrait? Question देखो. What kind of a person did the grandfather appear in his portrait? ଗ୍ରାଣ୍ଡଫାଦରଙ୍କର ଛବି ଦେଖିଲା ବେଳେ ସେ କି ଭଳିଆ ଦେଖାଯାଉଥିଲେ? ତାଙ୍କର appearance କେମିତି ଥିଲା? As we know, the grandfather's portrait hang over the mantelpiece in the house of the author, and he was an old man, and with a big turban on his head, and wearing loose-fitting clothes. He has, long beard that cover the, magnificent part of his chest. And from that picture, it was very clear that he is such a person who have only, lots and lots of grandchildren, and it is hard to believe that he was once married. So this is the picture from the portrait of the author's grandfather. What was absurd and undignified about the grandmother? कौन सब खराब कथा माने से जो स्टोरी कहते ग्रांडमदर से स्टोरी सब को स्टोरी सब माने अपसर्ड एंड अनडिग्निफाइड माने सेमती टा जिंस एग्जिस्ट करनी भलिया लागुतला कौन या करेक्ट सो द absurd and undignified things about the grandmother according to author was the sorts of game she was playing, and she was telling about those games that seems absurd and undignified. Okay, next. That was hard to believe. What was hard for the writer to believe? What was hard? Kono? Could jinsuta hard to believe? That people were telling that my grandmother was once married. ସେ ଥରେ ବାହା ହେଇଥିଲେ ଆଉ ତାଙ୍କର ସ୍ୱାମୀ ବି ଥିଲେ ଆଉ ତାଙ୍କର ପୁଅ ବି ଥିଲେ ନାଇଁ କି so she was once married and she had a husband, even if she had a husband and sons, and it was hard to believe. Next question, how did the grandfather look in his portrait? How did the grandfather look in his portrait? 50% similar to the first question. The grandfather was an old man with long words that covered maximum parts of his chest, and he was looking sorts of men who had only grandchildren. Last question, how does the writer describe his grandmother? How does the writer describe his grandmother, sorry. ତାଙ୍କ ଜେଜେମା ବିଷୟରେ କ'ଣ ସେ describe କରୁଥିଲେ, କ'ଣ ବର୍ଣ୍ଣନା କରୁଥିଲେ? My grandmother was, according to the author, my grandmother was short and fat and slightly bent. Short and fat and slightly bent. He had crisscross of wrinkle in our bodies, everywhere to everywhere, and always busy with telling the beads of a rosary, and she was just wandering the house in spotless white cloth. So this is all about grandmother according to the story. Okay, let us go to the next probable passage. And the passage start from where I decided, when I decided to go abroad for further studies, I was sure my grandmother would be upset. Okay, this is the first line. What is the last line? The last line is like this: that was the first time since I had known her that she did not pray. Okay, this is a passage. Let me start with the question. Why was the writer sure of his grandmother to be disappointed? Writer कौन पाई sure थिले जे तांकर जेजेमा दुखी हेबे एटा फर्स्ट पैसेज रो प्रथम अछि देखियो तमे that when the writer decided to go abroad for further studies, he was sure that his grandmother will be upset. Next question is about what? When did the writer come back home and what was his feeling? Writer kebe ferile? When did he come back home and what was his feeling? ତାଙ୍କର feeling କ'ଣ ଥିଲା? The writer came back after 5 years from the abroad. ବିଦେଶରୁ 5 ବର୍ଷ ଫେରିଲେ. She was thinking that her grandmother, his grandmother, would be very happy after watching him, after just looking at him. But that didn't happen, and that woman, she was as she was. ସେ ଯେମିତି ଥିଲା ସେମିତି ଏକା ଥିଲା, ତାର ଭିତରେ କିଛି ପରିବର୍ତ୍ତନ ହେଇନଥିଲା. But that was not so. What does that refers to? But that was not so. What does that refers to? That refers to the last physical contact between the grandmother and the author. This is the first answer. Second answer, maybe the writer was hoping, the author was hoping that the grandmother would be very upset if he would go there, but didn't happen. Third answer, what can be the third answer? She was thinking that after 5 years when I'll come na, at that time my grandmother will have been died, but that didn't happen. Okay, 3 answer I've given. So what is the most probable answer is the first one, that refers to the physical contact, last physical contact. Cherish the imprint of that kiss, that moisture imprint. So give a pen picture of the happiest moment of the writer's grandmother on the first day of the writer's arrival from abroad. तो सबुठार खुशी मोमेंट कोटा थिला जो दिन ऑथर आसी पहुंचिले तांको जेजेमांकर सबुठार खुशी मोमेंट कोन थिला? Something was there. So what are the happiest moment of the grandmother on the day on the first day of the author's arrival was the same thing that happened over with the sparrows. She was spreading the sparrows with most of her happiness, and that was the happiest moment. Okay, next, what change did he mark in her behavior on his return from abroad? से विदेश रो आसिला परे कोन परिवर्तन लक्ष्य कले का देहरे? हाँ, तांकर ग्रांडमांकर कोन परिवर्तन होला? As per the text, the grandmother was very happy on that day. She was immense happy. She collected the old woman from the neighborhood and she thumped that drum, singing the homecoming of the warriors. This was the change he had marked. Who had never sang any song, who always had dancing and singing. That lady was singing and dancing on that day, thumping the sagging skin of the drum. Okay, this was the second passage. Let us go to the third passage. Passage number 3. My grandmother and I were good friends. My parents left me with her when they went to live in the city. This is the first sentence. Last sentence is what followed us to our home, growling and fighting with each other for the chapatis we threw to them. Okay, this is the passage. Look at the passage and look at the video. So the first question. The first question is like this: what? My grandmother and I were good friends. Why does the writer say so? ମୁଁ ଓ ମୋ ଜେଜେମା ଆମେ ଦୁଇ ଜଣ ବନ୍ଧୁ ଥିଲୁ, ଭଲ ବନ୍ଧୁ ଥିଲୁ। କାହିଁକି ଏଭଳି କହିଛନ୍ତି? When, okay, the answer will be when the author's parents left the author with the grandmother in the village and went to the city. At that time, they were constantly together. The grandmother and the author. They were constantly together, and the grandmother was taking care of that little child. She was doing everything for him. That's why they were good friends. When and why did the grandmother say her morning prayer? When and why? କେତେବେଳେ ଓ କାହିଁକି grandma ସେ morning prayer ଟା ଗାଉଥିଲେ? କେତେବେଳେ? When she was just bathing the child, the author, at that time, she was singing her morning prayer in a monotonous sing song in the hope that the author would hear and learn it by heart. এই ଖୁସିରେ ସେ ଗାଉଥିଲେ କି ଅଥର ସେ ଗୀତକୁ ଶୁଣିବେ ଏବଂ ହାର୍ଟଲି ମନେ ରଖିବେ, ସେ ଘୋଷିଦେବେ। Okay, next question. What did the writer's breakfast comprise? Writer breakfast କ'ଣ ଖାଉଥିଲେ? What did the writer's breakfast comprise? In his breakfast, the writer was taking stale chapati with some sugar spread on it and some butter spread on it. Yeah, stale chapati with sugar and butter. Yeah. Next, why did the writer's grandmother accompany him to school? Why did? କାହିଁକି ଯାଉଥିଲେ? କାହିଁକି ଯାଉଥିଲେ ପିଲେ? କାରଣଟା ମନ୍ଦିର. Yes, you're correct. The writer's grandmother accompanied the writer to the school because the school was attached with the temple. Yes or no? The school was attached with the temple. Accompany him to school. Okay. What picture of the writer's grandmother do you get in the extract? କୋଉ ଛବି କ'ଣ ମିଳୁଛି, କ'ଣ ଆମେ ଜାଣୁଛୁ ତାଙ୍କ ବିଷୟରେ ଏଇ extract ରେ? It is the picture is very clear that she was a pious lady, religious lady. She had strong belief on God, and she also wanted that her grandson should have that faith on God as she had. Okay, so this is what passage number 3. Let's see passage number 4. Passage number 4 is the next morning she was taken ill. It was a mild fever, and the doctor told us that it would go. This is the first sentence. The last sentence is like that. They flew away quietly. Next morning, the sweeper swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin. This is the last unit of the text and the last few passages of the text. So let me start with the first question of the passage. What the grandmother afflicted with? When did the doctor? What did the doctor opine? Grandmaଙ୍କର କ'ଣ ହେଲା ଏବଂ ଡକ୍ଟର କ'ଣ କହିଲେ ସେ ବିଷୟରେ? The grandmother was afflicted with mild fever, and the doctor told her that it would go soon. ଏଟା ଛାଡ଼ିଯିବ. Who told? The doctor told. Then question number 2. But she ignored our protest, quote the line to justify this fact. But she, କିନ୍ତୁ ସେ ଆମ କଥାକୁ ଶୁଣିଲା ନାହିଁ. କୋଉ ଲାଇନରେ ଲେଖା ହେଇଛି? Okay. She lay peacefully in bed, praying and telling her beads. She lay peacefully in bed, praying and telling her beads. This is the line. Okay, that is written in favor of the answer. Okay. Next is what? How does the writer describe the last moment of his grandmother? Writer କୋଉଭଳି ଭାବରେ ତାଙ୍କ ଜେଜେମାଙ୍କର ଲାଷ୍ଟ ମୋମେଣ୍ଟଟାକୁ ଡେସ୍କ୍ରାଇବ୍ କରିଛନ୍ତି? Okay, how does the writer describe the last moment of his grandmother? So in her dying moments, the grandmother, told the family members that they should make her free, that she can, communicate with God. She was just lying on the bed, telling the beads of rosary, and without knowledge of anyone, the rosary fell down from her hand, and she just, died peacefully like a dove. Next question. How did the sparrows react to the grandmother's death? How did the sparrows react to the grandmother's death? Grandmaଙ୍କର death ଆଉ sparrow ଘରଚଟିଆ ମାନେ କଣ କିଭଳି react କଲେ? In the afternoon, rather in the evening, when the family, went near the dead body of the grandmother, they saw thousands of sparrows sitting quietly as they are mourning with the dismissal of their beloved lady, as they are the symbol of condolence. They are showing condolence. They are very grateful, uh, and they are just crying over the departure of that lady. This was a pen picture of emotional attachment of the parts with the lady and how dear the lady was towards the part. Okay. Last question. How did the family members feel for the birds? ପକ୍ଷୀମାନଙ୍କୁ ନେଇକି family members ମାନଙ୍କର ପ୍ରତିକ୍ରିୟା କ'ଣ ଥିଲା? The family members, they marked that the breadcrumbs that is being thrown by the author's mother instead of grandmother was untouched by the birds. ପକ୍ଷୀମାନେ ସ୍ପର୍ଶ କରିନଥିଲେ, untouched by the birds, and in the morning the sweeper came and swept away the breadcrumbs to the dustbin, and all the family members, they felt sorry for the birds. So that's all. That is the maximum probable question, and I've taken the 5 issues, and I think so this probable question answer will be helpful for the students. You don't need to see the what probables or test papers if you're following me. So keep watching for the next videos, such type of interesting videos. Okay, guys, remember one thing. After this probable question and answer will be over, more chapter left. Sorry, one more chapter left. After that, we'll go for information transfer. So keep watching. Stay tuned with Pandasa.